Outer Order, Inner Calm by Gretchen Rubin. A friend once told me something that stuck with me forever. She said, "I finally cleaned out my fridge, and now I know I can switch careers." You're probably thinking, what? How does a clean refrigerator have anything to do with changing your entire career? On the surface, they're in completely different universes, right? But here's the thing. I knew exactly what she meant. Haven't you felt it too? That weird, almost magical relief when you finally clear off your messy desk? That unexpected burst of energy you get from organizing a chaotic closet? It goes way beyond just having a tidier space. It's this feeling of being in control. Like suddenly, anything is possible. For most of us, how our space looks has a direct line to how our mind feels. And this connection is way more powerful than we give it credit for. This simple truth is at the heart of a little book that's quietly helped millions of people find peace in a world drowning in stuff. It's called Outer Order, Inner Calm, and the author, Gretchen Rubin, is one of the most thoughtful writers on human happiness today. She didn't start out as an organizing expert. She's more of a student of human nature. She used to be a lawyer who even clerked for a Supreme Court justice. Then one day, she realized she wanted to understand what actually makes people happy. Through all her research, she discovered this universal truth. For most of us, outer order really does create inner calm. This isn't about becoming some extreme minimalist who only owns 3 shirts. It's not about color-coding your entire bookshelf or buying a bunch of expensive storage containers. It's about something deeper. It's about how getting a handle on our physical stuff makes more room for happiness in our lives. So today, we're going to explore that idea together. By the end, you'll understand the hidden psychology behind why we hold on to clutter, and you'll have a practical roadmap for creating a space that doesn't just look better, but actually feels better. A space that energizes you instead of draining you, one that brings clarity instead of chaos. This is way more than just a cleaning guide. This is about finding the peace that's been hiding under that pile of papers on your desk this whole time. Let's kick things off with a question. Why should we even care about outer order? With all the big, serious problems in the world, isn't worrying about a messy room kind of trivial? It's a fair question. But here's what Gretchen Rubin discovered. The small, manageable battles we win often give us the strength to face the bigger ones. Think about it like this. When you walk into a room and see chaos everywhere, piles of laundry, stacks of paper, things just sitting around with no home, your mind registers all of that as unfinished business. Every single object becomes this tiny, nagging voice in the back of your head. You should deal with me. Don't forget about me. Why haven't you put me away? Whether you realize it or not, your brain is burning energy, just processing all that visual noise. It creates this low-grade, constant feeling of being overwhelmed and unsettled. But when you walk into an orderly space, your mind goes quiet. There are no demands, just peace. You're free to think, create, or actually relax. This is the first promise of outer order. It saves your mental energy. You're not wasting time hunting for your keys, your phone, or that one important piece of paper. You're not losing bits of your life to tiny, annoying chores. You gain a real sense of control over your life because you've taken control of your immediate environment. And this feeling ripples outward. It helps your relationships because you're not fighting about who made what mess. It creates an actual sanctuary, a place where you can truly rest, because your home isn't just another source of stress and to-do lists. It even reduces guilt. That guilt about things you bought but never used, projects you started but never finished. And maybe most powerful of all, it creates this sense of possibility. When the physical clutter disappears, you feel mentally lighter, renewed. Like my friend with her clean fridge, you suddenly feel like you can tackle anything. If the benefits are so clear, why do we let clutter pile up in the first place? Why is letting go so hard? It's because every piece of clutter tells a story, and to get rid of the clutter, we have to face that story head on. Maybe some of these sound familiar. You look at an old gadget and think, this thing could be so useful someday. That's the story of unrealized potential. You see a shirt that doesn't fit and say, I could get this altered, or I'll wear it when I lose 10 pounds. That's the story of your imagined future self. You spot a gift you never liked and reason, I need to keep this to respect the person who gave it to me. That's the story of guilt and obligation. Or maybe it's that box of craft supplies for a project you were once excited about. When I have time, I could do something really cool with this. The story of abandoned dreams. Sometimes the story is about the past. An old toy reminds you of childhood. A stack of college textbooks reminds you of who you used to be. And sometimes, the story is simply, I'm too tired and overwhelmed to make a decision about this right now. That's the story of pure exhaustion. Every single one of us has these piles of stories sitting in our rooms, closets, and garages. And the first step to clearing clutter isn't to rush out and buy organizing bins. In fact, Rubin gives us this powerful starting point. Don't get organized, get rid of stuff. You can't organize clutter, you can only shuffle it around. The real work, the crucial first step is making choices. This is where the process becomes an exercise in knowing yourself. As you pick up each object, you're not just deciding what to do with it. You're deciding what role it plays in your life. To help, Rubin offers 3 simple but profound questions to ask about everything you own. Do I need it? Do I love it? Do I use it? Notice the balance here. It's not just about cold utility. You might not use a beautiful painting every day, but you love it. It stays. You might not love your fire extinguisher, but you definitely need it. It stays. You might not have deep feelings about your toothbrush, but you use it twice a day. It stays. But if the answer to all 3 questions is no, then it's time to let it go. It's served its purpose, and keeping it around is only taking up space, both physical space on your shelf and mental space in your mind. Of course, knowing you should get rid of something and actually doing it are 2 very different things. Our brains have these little traps that make letting go really difficult. One of the strongest is something psychologists call the endowment effect. This is the weird quirk where we value things more just because we own them. Ever gotten a free t-shirt from some event? You probably wouldn't have paid even $1 for it in a store. But once it's in your drawer, getting rid of it feels like a loss. It's yours. To fight this, ask yourself, if I didn't already own this, and I saw it in a store today, would I buy it? If the answer is no, you're only keeping it because of the endowment effect. Related to this is what Rubin calls the duration effect. The longer you've owned something, the harder it is to part with, even if you've literally never used it. That ugly vase from your wedding 10 years ago? It's become part of the furniture, part of your story. It's way easier to toss an unwanted item quickly before it has time to put down roots in your home and your head. So how do you actually get started? The thought of tackling your whole room can feel paralyzing. The secret is to start small and have a plan. First, prepare yourself. Clearing clutter is surprisingly exhausting. It's a marathon of constant decision-making. So don't try to do it when you're hungry, tired, or rushed. Put on some music, grab a nice drink, and treat it like a real project. Next, identify your beneficiaries. It's so much easier to let things go when you can vividly imagine them being useful to someone else. Before you start, find a local charity that takes books, a shelter that needs clothes, or a young family that could use your old furniture. When you're not just getting rid of a board game, but giving it to the summer camp for rainy days, the whole thing transforms from loss to generosity. One of the most common types of clutter is the unfinished project, the half-finished knitting, the woodworking tools, the language learning books. These aren't just clutter. They're monuments to our guilt. Every time we see them, we feel this pang of self-reproach. Rubin offers a simple, liberating solution. Abandon the project. The easiest way to finish a project is to decide you're not going to do it. Let it go. Get that stuff off your shelf, and, more importantly, off your conscience. Let's walk through a practical example, the clothes closet. For most of us, it's basically a graveyard of fantasy selves and past identities. To tackle it, you can't just glance at the hangers. You have to take out each item one by one and ask the hard questions. Does it currently fit? Not will it fit someday, but does it fit right now? Do you actually wear it? Be honest. If you've worn it 5 times or fewer since buying it, it's probably not a keeper. Is it uncomfortable? Life is too short for itchy sweaters and shoes that hurt. Does it need altering? If so, make a deal with yourself. Either get it altered in the next 2 weeks or let it go. And here's a great one. Rubin calls the X factor. If you ran into your ex on the street, would you be happy wearing this? The answer is often really revealing. By going through this process, you're not just cleaning your closet, you're curating your identity. You're clearing away things that no longer represent who you are, making room for the person you are right now. Once you've made those brave choices about what to keep and what to release, you move into the next phase, creating order. This is where you give everything that remains a proper home. This stage is guided by a simple but powerful idea from policing called the broken windows theory. The idea is that in a neighborhood, small signs of disorder, like a single broken window that never gets fixed, send a signal that nobody's in charge. This can lead to more disorder and eventually bigger problems. The same thing happens in our homes. A small pile of mail on the kitchen counter attracts more mail, then a few books, then a stray coffee mug. Before you know it, that clear surface has become a clutter magnet. Clutter attracts more clutter. But the reverse is also true. Order inspires order. When you fix the small, broken windows in your home, making the bed, sorting the mail, clearing the counters, you create an environment that feels cared for, which makes maintaining that order so much easier. The key is one of the most important rules in the entire book. Every item should have a specific home, not a general area, but a specific, designated spot. And closely related, never label anything miscellaneous. A miscellaneous drawer is just where things go to be forgotten. When everything has a home, cleaning up is no longer this creative exercise in figuring out where things should go. It becomes a simple, almost mindless process of putting things back where they belong. You know exactly where the scissors are. You know where the batteries live. You know where your passport is. This simple system eliminates countless moments of daily frustration. But what if you live with other people who, let's say, have a very different tolerance for clutter? This is a huge source of friction in families and with roommates. Rubin suggests a wonderfully practical solution: create holding bins. If your spouse or kid tends to leave their stuff scattered around the common areas, have a designated basket for each person. Instead of nagging or spending your time putting their things away in places you might not even know, you simply gather their stray items and put them in their bin. The mess is gone from the shared space, and they know exactly where to find their stuff. It's a simple system that can save a ton of arguments. Now you might be thinking, this sounds great, but I know myself. I'll spend a whole weekend getting everything perfect, and in 2 weeks it'll be a disaster again. This is a fear everyone has, and it brings us to the most crucial part of maintaining a peaceful space: building helpful habits. The goal isn't to become this tidying robot who's constantly cleaning. The goal is to build small, automatic routines that prevent clutter from piling up in the first place. It's way easier to keep up than to catch up. And the most powerful, life-changing habit in this book is the 1-minute rule. It's exactly what it sounds like. Do any task that can be finished in less than 1 minute without delay. Hang up your coat the moment you walk in. 10 seconds. Read a piece of mail and immediately toss it or file it. 20 seconds. Put a dish directly into the dishwasher instead of the sink. 15 seconds. Wipe down the counter after making a sandwich. 30 seconds. Individually, these actions seem trivial, but compounded over a day, a week, a year, they're the difference between a perpetually tidy home and one that's always on the edge of chaos. The 1-minute rule is your ultimate weapon against procrastination. It stops small tasks from piling up into overwhelming projects. Another simple but brilliant habit is the 10-minute closer. At the end of the day, before you truly relax or head to bed, set a timer for 10 minutes and do a quick tidy of your main living space. Put the shoes away. Stack the magazines. Return the remote to its spot. Wipe the kitchen counters. You're not deep cleaning. You're just resetting the space for tomorrow. Waking up to a tidy home instead of yesterday's chaos is an incredibly calming way to start your day. You can do the same thing at the end of your workday. A 10-minute closer for your desk makes coming back in the morning so much more pleasant. These habits are the machinery of inner calm. They work quietly in the background, maintaining order so your conscious mind doesn't have to. But here's something most organizing books miss. The systems and habits that work for one person might totally fail for another. And that's why the next step is to know yourself. Are you a marathoner or a sprinter when it comes to projects? A marathoner prefers doing a little bit every day, like 30 minutes of decluttering each evening. The thought of a huge, all-day project stresses them out. A sprinter, on the other hand, thrives on that intense burst of energy. They'd rather dedicate an entire Saturday to blasting through the garage, fueled by deadline pressure. There's no right way. There's only the way that works for you. Are you an overbuyer or an underbuyer? An overbuyer loves to stock up. They have a 10-year supply of toothpaste and buy gadgets just in case. Their challenge is resisting the impulse to acquire. A great mantra for them is, store it at the store. You don't need to keep it in your house. You can buy it if and when you actually need it. An underbuyer resists buying things. They'll use soap instead of shaving cream to avoid purchasing shaving cream. Their clutter is often broken or shabby stuff because they hate replacing things. Their challenge is giving themselves permission to buy what they truly need. Understanding your own tendencies is key to creating a system that actually sticks. If you're what Rubin calls an obliger, someone who's great at meeting other people's expectations but struggles with their own, you'll need external accountability. You won't succeed just by telling yourself to clean the basement. You need to invite a friend over to help or promise to donate the cleared items by a specific date. You need to turn that inner expectation into an outer one. By understanding yourself, you can tailor your approach and finally stop fighting your own nature. This brings us to the final and maybe most enjoyable stage: add beauty. The point of all this isn't to have some tidy, sterile, empty space. It's to create an environment you actually love, a place that feels like a true reflection of you. Once the clutter is gone, you can finally see the beauty in what remains. This is the time to spend out. So many of us save our best things for special occasions that never come: the beautiful stationery, the fancy candles, the good china. Rubin encourages us to use them now. Enjoy them. Their purpose is bringing you pleasure, not gathering dust in a cabinet. Using your best things is an act of gratitude for your own daily life. This is also where you curate your space to tell your story. Arrange your favorite objects on a tray. A simple tray has this magical ability to make random items look intentional and beautiful. Bring nature inside. A few shells, a branch, a bowl of pine cones. Create a seasonal photo gallery, swapping pictures so you see them with fresh eyes. Think about adding a touch of luxury. This doesn't have to be expensive. It could be a set of beautifully designed pens for your desk, or a single, high-quality chef's knife that makes cooking a joy. These small upgrades to the tools you use every day can make a huge difference in how you experience life. Ultimately, this journey from chaos to calm is about more than stuff. It's a process of rediscovery. You unearth forgotten treasures. You let go of past identities that no longer serve you. You make conscious choices about what deserves a place in your life. And maybe the most important tip in the whole book is the last one: remember love. When you're frustrated with the box of childhood artwork your parents can't throw away, or the ragged college t-shirts your partner insists on keeping, remember that this stuff, this clutter, is often just a tangled expression of love. Love for the past, love for memories, love for the people we share our lives with. By approaching it with that understanding, even the frustrating process of decluttering can become an act of connection and grace. Outer order really does lead to inner calm. It's not magic. It's simply the quiet freedom that comes when you've created a space where everything you see is something you need, use, or love. As we wrap up our journey through outer order, inner calm, I want to take a moment to think about why this seemingly simple book has had such a profound impact. In a world that's constantly screaming for our attention, with endless notifications and overwhelming to-do lists, our physical space is one of the few things we can truly control. And what Gretchen Rubin so brilliantly shows us is that taking control of our space is a powerful way to take back control of our minds. The real genius of this book isn't some rigid, one-size-fits-all system. Its power is in its flexibility and deep understanding of human nature. It recognizes that we're all different. My reasons for keeping clutter are different from yours. What feels like a calming, minimalist space to one person might feel cold and empty to another. The book gives us a framework of questions and ideas, but ultimately it empowers us to find our own way. It's a guide, not a set of rules. For a young person, especially someone around your age, this lesson is invaluable. You're at a stage in life where you're actively building your identity, figuring out who you are and what matters to you. The process of decluttering, as outlined in this book, is a physical version of that internal process. When you clean out your closet, you're not just getting rid of old clothes. You're letting go of the person you were in middle school to make room for who you're becoming. When you organize your desk, you're not just sorting papers. You're creating the mental space you need to focus on your studies, your passions, and your future. What I find most powerful is the idea that this isn't a one-time event but a practice. The habits, especially the 1-minute rule and the 10-minute closer, are tools for life. They teach you that consistency in small things leads to massive results over time. This principle applies to everything: studying, exercise, relationships, and, yes, keeping your room tidy. So how can you start applying these ideas today without feeling overwhelmed? Here are 3 simple actions. First, try the 10-minute closer tonight. Before you go to bed, set a timer for just 10 minutes. Don't try to tackle your biggest mess. Just do a quick reset. Put away your shoes, stack your books, clear off one surface. Experience the feeling of waking up to a slightly more orderly world and see if it doesn't change your morning. Second, practice the 1-minute rule tomorrow. For just one day, be aware of any task that would take less than 60 seconds. When you finish a snack, take the wrapper to the trash immediately. When you take off your jacket, hang it up. Notice how these tiny actions prevent messes from ever starting. It's like having a superpower against clutter. Third, this weekend, pick one drawer. Just one. It could be your sock drawer, your desk drawer, or that dreaded junk drawer. Dump everything out. Quickly sort it into 3 piles: keep, donate, or toss, and a small, I'm not sure yet pile. Put the keep items back neatly. Deal with the donate or toss pile immediately. This small victory will give you the momentum and confidence to tackle bigger spaces. The journey to inner calm isn't found in some grand, sweeping gesture. It's found in the small daily choices we make. It's in the quiet satisfaction of knowing where to find your keys. It's in the peace of a clear desk. And it's in the realization that by creating order in the world around you, you're creating a calm, clear, and beautiful space for yourself to grow. That was our deep dive into Outer Order, Inner Calm by Gretchen Rubin. We've explored the core ideas today, but let me be clear. A summary is like looking at a travel brochure, while reading the book is like taking the trip yourself. The real magic happens in those quiet moments of reading, when a particular phrase or simple tip connects with your own life in a way you didn't expect. This summary is your map, designed to help you decide if this is a journey you want to take. If anything we've talked about today sparked something in you, I encourage you to grab a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning. It's an experience that can genuinely bring more peace and clarity to your daily life. The link to the book is in the description below. Also, if you found this exploration valuable, it would mean the world to me if you'd hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. That way, you won't miss our next deep dive into another life-changing book from the billionaire's bookshelf. Let's keep learning and growing together.